Warm welcome to all of you. Today we have day 2 of our session, Healing Mind, Body and Soul. So I bow down and respect to all our divine guides, all our gurus, Pitama Patriji, respected, all Guru Mandali's gurus, with their blessings. With great respect, I welcome GK Sir. We are so grateful to have you here again today for this session, Healing Mind, Body and Soul. So let's start the session today, sir. Your guidance will surely make this journey meaningful for all of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. And good morning, everyone. So, just to recap the yesterday, what we have discussed, because whatever the discussion that was happened yesterday is to prepare the ground to understand the spiritual tablets wisdom perspective, to understand the connection between body, mind, soul. And before understanding the illness and the reasons behind the illness and the spiritual pathology behind every illness, we need to know the core spiritual principles, because the whole world is living with two types of principles. One is the moral values, that is what the regular common people will follow, doing right things, and then one should not steal, one should not say lie. All these factors are like the moral values. Wherever there is a group of people, based on the understanding or knowledge level, we need to have those moral values. But whereas coming to the soul and the consciousness, it has got its own principles. When the soul come onto this earth plane to live happily with the body mind soul complex, the governing laws, I can say, so that I brought all those principles, grabbed from Lord Krishna and grabbed from Jesus and some from Richard Bach and some from Patriji. I put it as traffic signals of the soul. So these are the traffic signals for the soul to travel in this body as a vehicle in the earth plane. Like when we are traveling in a car, we are bound to follow certain traffic signals, because we are not the only people traveling on the road. There are other people as well. And then there must be a coordination, then only we can have a safe travel. Similarly, on the earth plane, the soul to complete its journey in a fruitful way, along with other fellow beings like mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, human kingdom, based on our pre-birth plan, we need to have a certain core principles. So if we understand well, then from that point, keeping it as a base, we can easily understand the body mind soul connection, and then we can try to understand the spiritual reasons behind the illness. Among those, the first one, suffering is due to individual ignorance. given by Richard Bach in Illusions book. Whatever the suffering it may be, the three types of affliction, sufferings due to lack of spiritual wisdom, which is 90%, and sufferings due to this physical body, that is Adi Bhautik Tapa, and then difficulties due to natural calamities, Adi Daivik Tapa. The first one is Adhyatmik Tapa. So 90% lack of spiritual wisdom, 9% because we are entrapped in this physical body, and 1% the natural calamities, earthquakes or forest fires that are happening now in LA, very widely happened. So floods and tsunamis, all these comes in this category, but it is only 1%. So any suffering is due to individual ignorance. So when we don't know our righteous position, then we are entitled to suffer with natural calamities. We need to know our position as a God. We need to know our position, place wise, knowledge wise, work wise, service wise, where exactly we need to do. That is the key factor here. Understanding the positions and position power is that 1% natural calamities is the answer. Coming out of this difficulties from entrapment of the physical body is working with spiritual guru as well as subordinates. The pull and push from above and below, that we need to understand well. And we have to adjust ourselves in a proper way. That is the reason related to this difficulties due to physical body. Is only 9%. And 90% understanding the birth and death, understanding our potential, third eye, purpose of life, other dimensions, past lives. So all these things, the major part of the spiritual wisdom is related to this 90% of the difficulties, problems and sufferings, whatever the level it may be, body, mind, intellect and soul. So when we work on our individual ignorance, and if we equip it with the well-versed wisdom, then we can automatically come out of that suffering. So here the suffering is due to individual ignorance. This is the first caption. And then you create your own reality. Whatever the situations we are facing in day-to-day life, these are all created by us only. We are creating our reality as a part of expansion of the consciousness, learning, and happiness. It can be a suffering situation or it can be a best and better situation, happier situation. Both are created by us only, both conscious self and unconscious self. Nobody wants any accident, but at times we invite it into our life through our unconscious self to learn certain things and to make the life much better for the longer happiness. Something like that, we can understand it. And then you are never given a wish without also being given the power to make it true. Whatever the wish that is coming to us, this is the third principle. Every wish, without having the power, we never get that wish. If someone came to know that by doing meditation and understanding the spiritual principles, I can cure my illness completely and I can become medicine free. You got that wish into your ears or through someone, means you can do it. Without having the power to fulfill that particular wish, you never get it into your vicinity. It came into your ears means you can do it. And similarly, the next principle is one should not leave an opportunity without learning or without completely understanding. There is nothing to learn in that particular possibility. So unless you are sure that there is nothing to learn in a particular possibility, you should not leave it. So, what are the opportunities that are coming to your doorstep? You should be open to it and you have to invite it. Whenever you are sure that there is nothing to learn, already you have done so many times and you have learned enough from that and you enjoyed it, then only you can leave it. Otherwise, you have to face every new situation that is coming to your doorstep. When I am saying this, the troubles related to the mouth and the chest region, where we test certain things in the mouth, whether it is good or bad, we are inviting something inside. And similarly, the opportunities we face through the chest, a warrior will face through the chest. So these are the two areas where they will be affected with choosing the opportunities and are rejecting the opportunities that are coming in our day-to-day life. And the next principle, materially one should not crave, spiritually one must crave. Whatever the spiritual aspect that is there, either individual spiritual growth or community spiritual growth, one should always go in a very craving mode. As a human being, we will have that craving always through the mind. So this craving part, that craving attitude, we need to shift towards spirituality, to learn more and more, to do more meditation, to do more spiritual books, to listen to so many spiritual sessions, to do a lot of spiritual service. Like that, one should crave spiritually to do more and more. Materially, whatever is coming on its own, that we need to take. That is what living like a true yogi. No material craving, only spiritual craving. The spiritual craving automatically brings whatever we want in our life. That is what Jesus says. This is another principle. Seek is the kingdom of God and his righteousness first. Things will be added unto you. Whenever we look into the inner God, which is righteous, then whatever the material things that we are asking or we are seeking, they automatically will be added to our life. And if you give, you will get, or what you give, that you will get. That give and take principle. And finally, to conclude these traffic signals, four major words of Vedas. Prajnanam Brahma means the wisdom is God. And then Aham Brahmasmi, I am God. And then Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma means everything is godliness around. And then finally Tatvamasi. These are the four stages of life. If someone can cross all these four stages, and his work is completed on the earth plane. So these 10 traffic signals are the core key elements to understand this body-mind harmony complex. Without understanding these core spiritual principles, we cannot crack any illness on the body, because behind every illness and every situation, these core 10 traffic signals only will come. But to come out of the illness, the basic 12 spiritual tablets like individual meditation, group meditation, full moon meditation, pyramid meditation, following the plant-based diet, and following the optimal diet means giving the righteous food through the five senses to the soul. So these six basic practicing techniques are important, which are part of the 18 principles of the BSSM. Once they vigorously practice these basic six steps, then slowly they will listen to the second six wisdom steps. like a spiritual book reading, as we discussed yesterday, 3 do's and 3 don'ts, and listening to the other spiritual masters, sharing of experiences, and listening to a specific wisdom, like spiritual health science classes, and then working with spiritual guru, that is Acharya Sangatya, one-on-one spiritual counseling once in a month until they complete their third eye, and living in nature and doing spiritual science service. So these are the second six practical components which we give as solutions for any illness. So till now, these are the basics. Just in a nutshell, I try to cover, because most of the people are already meditating since so long, so you don't need the basics. That's why I just gave in a nutshell. So today we try to understand some of the common ailments, and we try to understand the spiritual reason behind those illnesses, how this body, mind, soul harmony will be maintained, what happens in the body when we miss something in the intellectual level. Assuming most of the masters here, seniors, who are already working more than 3 to 6 months with breath awareness practice, I am jumping into that. I'm trying to give a thread how to think about each and every kind of bodily related illnesses. And wherever I applied the core PSSM spiritual truths given by Patriji in understanding the illness as a part of my spiritual health journey. Nowadays, most of the people will complain about uterus related disorders, starting from dysfunctional uterine bleeding, means the monthly cycles may be a problem, either may be pain or prolonged bleeding or scanty bleeding. Sometimes they miss the periods, and fibroids in the uterus or ovarian tumors. So all these related to the menstrual cycle in and around and the tumors part. So in these areas, we try to understand the spiritual functioning of the uterus. And parallelly, we try to understand the second chakra wisdom. So coming to, as we know, it is a childbearing unit where the zygote will start its journey until it becomes take a shape, and we deliver a baby finally after 9 months. So the 9 month period, the uterus is giving nourishment to the growing child through placenta. So this is all the physical mechanism. The same thing if we decode spiritually, during the pregnancy period and even before, the mothers should prepare themselves to give the spiritual nourishment for the spiritual child. For example, I understood the spiritual principles in my own way, and I try to bring out the spiritual wisdom to give health to the people in a harmonious way through wisdom capsules. So I can create a lot of spiritual babies with this. Similarly, a musician is capable of music. They can do a lot of music programs, and there they can give a message and make the people to sit in meditation as well. So the spiritual babies they get is through music. Some person with Bhagavad Gita, some with Kabir Doha, some with um, any kind of wisdom. So here, like we are giving birth to a biological child, mother should be able to give birth to a spiritual child by giving wisdom. So whenever they work on a content of wisdom, which they have brought as their purpose of life to produce the spiritual children, once they start working on that content of wisdom to make themselves as a master to a certain level, that is what the intellectual uterus. See, telling someone meditation today and leaving him, that is seeding. We call it as seeding. It is different. But nurturing them continuously for 3 months or 6 months or 1 year until they become masters is something different. There are two things here. Randomly teaching meditation and leaving them is something different. And following them on a continuous basis until they become, until they reach a certain level to take care of themselves is something different. So here, in the intrauterine phase, starting from the zygote until we deliver the baby, the uterus is giving nourishment. Similarly, the woman should have a content of wisdom as a part of their purpose of life, whatever they have chosen, which is very unique for every woman. They need to work on that particular wisdom and then they need to deliver that to their spiritual children. So the majority of the training will be related to understanding the spiritual children concept, whom we initiate and train and leave them to live on their own in a spiritual background. I'm saying the same thing we can see materially. We teach education, and with that they will start their own business or a job, and they earn money and they live on their own. That is the material aspect, monetary aspect. This is a spiritual aspect where they will gain their own energy and wisdom and guidance. So for that, the mothers has to have their own wisdom. So this is the first and foremost key point to work on uterus related problems. And parallelly, based on the second chakra zone, working on the emotional factor, most of the cases we see that we have observed that they will be like a, that crying pattern for most of the things. So they will go for a crying meditation most of the times to come out of that emotional, you know, turbulences they face. First, we have to arrest the tap, that crying tap. We came here with a self contentment. At every given point of time, we have everything to be happy because either we are living in past or we are living in future or we have some expectations or too much attachments. That mind coverings only will create the turbulence and that emotional disturbance, which leads to cry. I call it as a crying meditation. Of course, someone close member died in the family. There are two kinds of suffering: short term suffering and long term suffering. Short term suffering is right because there is an attachment. After all, we are living in this physical body and with a mind, and that close companionship is suddenly it is lost. Usually, nothing is sudden. If we sincerely meditate and if we are third eye, intuitively we will come to know something is going to happen, and about that person also will get some dreams or experiences, and happily we can send him. This is what actually the original truth. Suppose if they are not that much knowledgeable, if they are unable to predict it, then that sudden death, so called sudden, will create some turbulence. So if we are having crying meditation momentarily for some days or months, it is okay. But months together, years together, again and again, if you are thinking, means you don't have proper knowledge about the death. You don't have knowledge about the birth. So that is lack of spiritual science. It is totally a wrong suffering. Everybody must die. Everybody must leave the body, because body is just nothing. Soul is permanent here. We are nothing but souls. So lack of spiritual wisdom will create that suffering. So that's why whenever there is that wrong suffering is happening, repetitive, that emotional disturbances by clinging to past or future, okay, and fear factors, too much attachment, whenever they come out of it, naturally it will create a wrong suffering. We do agree for the right suffering, that momentary detachment and cry, it is fine. That crying meditation will let out all that, attachments and emotions, and then they become free. Once they have wisdom, that so-called move on, they need to take. So here, when we are working at second chakra, we need to understand their emotional balance. There are so many spiritual books talking only about the emotions, because some people will cater like 80% of the disease are only because of the emotions. But of course, there is beyond. We cannot simply tie all the illnesses only just with emotion. Emotion is only at the second chakra. Beyond that, there are so many factors. At every chakra, we can find different reasons for every illness. Yes, emotion do cater a major area. So arresting that crying meditation part, which is wrong, going in a wrong way for a long-term period, and then uh, flexibility factor, because it is a water chakra, one must be very flexible. According to the situation, they have to mold themselves. So that flexibility factor, and as I said yesterday, the feminine and masculine factor, that means gratification, a little pleasure with this body, with all these five senses as and when required. So that point, and then working with ourselves, because for the water there is a starting point and there is an end point. Like the soul started from ourself, coming as an underself, and then again we merge in ourself or become like an ourself. So there is a starting point and end point. We need to understand this. So these factors related to this Swadhisthana as a water chakra, one has to understand very well, and they have to implement in day-to-day life. They need to be open to the little pleasures that are coming in between the day or week and month, and that flexibility factor, and then emotional balance. Whatever the negative emotions that are there, all those emotions we have to be able to understand, and we have to let go. And apart from this, whenever the complaint related to the uterus is related to the monthly cycles, so this is a very great invention which is directly acts on the monthly cycles related problems, like whether it is a dysmenorrhea, pain. A lot of young adults also will tell about pain during menstruation, and delayed bleeding periods. So they need to work on monthly soul program. Means every month during full moon day, better if they be in Mauna for some days, consecutively for 3 months or 6 months. If they silence will be maintain silence, and more of raw vegetables and fruits they need to take, and at least for 2 to 3 days they need to prepare their upcoming month soul program. Means what are all the things they want to do for the soul development, that they need to write. Initially, for the beginners, they may not have any clue, But if they meditate and if they ask the universe, and slowly the things starts propping up, or they can take guidance of any senior masters, what best I can do in the upcoming month for my spiritual growth. They will give you. This is like daily meditation, complete reading a one or two spiritual books, meeting some few people who teach meditation, attending some spiritual science classes in the weekends, wherever it is happening, or going for a trekking program for 2 to 3 if it is there in that month, particular month, or attending that mini mega meditation summit happens every month in different states when it comes to your state or your area. Like that, in every month is bit different, right? Based on the winter and summer, our movement also changes. A little difference between the months. If it is a Christmas month, that we are in a holiday mood, so it goes in a different way. When the school starts, then we are in a bit serious and confined to home, and that is bit different. Like that, based on our day-to-day chaotic family and community things, we need to understand where exactly we fit, and accordingly we have to design our individual spiritual growth and community spiritual growth. Combiningly, we need to prepare a monthly soul program. During full moon days, it is much better to forecast easily. So whatever we write to follow the upcoming month, the monthly soul program, every week we need to check, and we need to show our progress in those lines. Whatever the book we have decided to complete the spiritual book reading and meeting people and the spiritual service activities, attending some major programs in that particular month that we have to complete. So consecutively for 3 months to 6 months, if they follow this monthly soul program, it is bound to cure the gynec related, menstrual related, in and around menstrual cycle related problems, number one. And number two, the skin problems, because the skin every month it will be changed. A new skin will come, the top 3 layers. So there also it will work wonderfully. And though it looks like funny, but it is a fact. People who are suffering with financial difficulties on monthly basis related to the job, salary, paying EMIs, and once in a month they get some kind of allergy or some kind of financial things. Any problem, if it is connected with monthly, pattern, there immediately one has to understand to write this monthly soul program, because the uterus is the one operates with menstrual cycles. So here, majority, we try to apply this monthly soul program. So this is a practical tip which we have applied in thousands of cases, and then we are successful. So for this spiritual causes for uterus, there is a pocket book. And if you go through that, there are additional some exceptional tips also that were covered, but majority working on the emotional balance, flexibility factor, little pleasures, and working with ourself, means understanding that we are in a journey, we are trapped here, and we need to reach that ourself state, that getting into that idea. And parallelly working on monthly soul plan, and to nurture the soul of the spiritual child, one has to gain an amount of wisdom. It can be in any field. Whatever the experience they get, whatever the guidance they get through their intuitive, realms, that they need to take to understand it in a better way. They can work with the seniors. Sometimes it may be 2, 3 areas. It can be. It may not be like like we are having 3, 4 children or 2 children. Similarly, based on the spiritual children we are supposed to produce and follow. we may be into 2, 3 types of wisdom parallelly. And it can be front end and it can be back end. So when they understand their role, and if they start working on attaining that wisdom, then slowly they can nurture their spiritual children, and that will automatically strengthen the spiritual intellectual uterus, I can say. And then coming to the lower back pain, which is second most common complaint. So the lower back pain is basically, one has to understand the root chakra wisdom, the two key factors, the hard work and the fear. The first half is the fear factor, like understanding and cleansing the body fear, mind fear, intellectual fear, and soul fear. All these four types of fears one has to understand. And wherever they have fear, they need to work on it very vigorously until they come out of that particular fear factor. You can meditate on it, discuss with masters, read some spiritual books. Whenever you visualize for yourself, you should not feel fearful about that particular incident or the things that are going on in life. There is a thumb rule. If you do intense meditation, almost like 50% of the fear you can reduce. If you share your experiences and then read spiritual books, another 40% you can reduce. The remaining 10% is like a residual fear, and it is righteous. As long as we are entrapped in this physical body, every time we are changing our situations. For example, you went to some other new country. When you went to a new country, because we don't have experience about that particular country and language and people, there will be little fear carrying. Suppose if you went to that city 10 times, then next time you don't have that fear because already you're used to it. So whenever there is a level change or a junctional change is there again a little fear comes. It is common. Because of this entrapment, we are operating as a limited consciousness. We are bound to have that little fear. But the baseline 90 fear is not correct. It is lack of enlightenment. So whenever people carry this 90% spectrum fear, that will hit the root chakra and it will cause in general low back pain. I am not talking about tuberculosis infectious or malignancy, cancer related. These are all exceptional cases. But in general, disc related low back pains and sprains and ligamental problems, there one has to understand to come out of the fear factor. And then hard work. So as a root chakra factor, the survival consciousness, one must do hard work. It starts with hard work, anything. There are three components: hard work, intellect, and philosophy. First, hard work. To that, we need to add intellect, and then we jump into miraculously doing the things, that is in philosophy, where we apply the spiritual wisdom. Just with the thought power, we manifest the things. But every situation, according to the earth reality, it starts with hard work. We need to go through that manual repetition of the jobs. And then after reaching a point, we jump into intellectual area where the mechanism, technique, or machinery will come into place or subordinate, and things becomes easier. Intellectually, they are sound, so it becomes easy. Duplication is easy. After that point, philosophy means miraculous way of doing. A perfect archer does not need any bow and arrow. That principle will apply. So that's why when we are in that survival consciousness mode, wherever there we are starting a new thing, it starts with hard work first. So if we are trying to escape that hard work, and if we are not ready to take that hard work, then that hits the root chakra and it give an alarm as low back pain. So they need to cater their tasks, what are all the areas I am operating, and there is there any hard work component is still pending, or am I escaping? That we need to identify, and they have to give time to that particular area as a middle path, both material side and spiritual side. We need to be open to exhibit our hard work quality. So these are the two key factors for the low back pain. Working on our fears, different types of fears at different levels, and the hard work factor. Apart from this, to understand the root chakra, we need to understand the roots of a plant. If you take a plant, if you take the roots which are unseen in the ground, if you understand the characters of the roots, they also will be very much helpful in permanently coming after the low back pain. See, if you take rest and if you meditate through energy mechanism, one can clear their low back pain. But there are thousands of cases where after doing meditation, again here and then they will feel pain. Permanently, they may not be in a position to say, hey, my back pain is totally gone. To say that totally gone and not to go for surgery, all these principles that we are discussing now are very crucial. So to understand the roots, any roots of a tree, even though they are in that earth plane, earth element, where a lot of mud and a lot of unwanted things will be there. But the roots will allow only the water and nutrient molecules which are required for that plant. Because the pores that they have, the pores will allow only the molecules that are required for the plant for its health. The rest of all the things they never absorb. If they absorb rubbish, immediately it will die. So they have such a beautiful screening mechanism through the small pores in the roots. They will absorb only water and nutrients. Similarly, as a soul living in this physical body with the five senses, we need to take only the wisdom and happiness. We should not take the rubbish through these five senses. One should not listen unwanted things, rubbish things, which create turbulence and repetitions and sadness for us. One should not see which is not giving any happiness or energy or aesthetic sense or some sort of wisdom. One should not see. For example, if you are waiting in a bus stand or waiting for a bus or in a station, you have three choices. Either you can look into the sky and the birds flying and then beautiful scenic beauty you can see, or you can see the commercial boats, or you can look at the ugly roads or some drainage systems that are there nearby. When you are on a balcony with a coffee, again you have a choice to look into the sky and the beauty or the greenery, or you can peep into the surrounding people who are quarreling or some sort of nuisance they are doing. So in every site, in every listening area, all these five senses has to be indulged only in attracting happiness or wisdom. Like the roots are absorbing only water and molecules. Similarly, we have to use these five senses in a knowledge and happiness area. When we attract or see the wrong things, that will create turbulence and it will automatically create the suffering. And then the same roots will go very longer, deep rooted, the long roots and short roots. Long roots are again for the stability, to give stability to the plant, and short roots for nourishment. Similarly, in a given a day, we have a long-term solutions and short-term solutions. One must be knowledgeable to discriminate between long-term solution and short-term solution. When we are in a camp for 3 day or 5 day in a tour, when we need something, we try to take all temporary things, disposable things. When we are at home, we try to take a permanent one, the durable one. So in every choice, we think whether it is a long term or short term. Similarly, whenever we are getting opportunities, especially the spirituality, always we need to think a long term spiritual solution. If you have a problem, if you are trying to cure that problem with medicines, it is a short term solution. Again and again, you have to take medicine. If you are trying it with through meditation and spiritual wisdom, then you are going for a long term solution. So when people understand where to apply the long term one and where to go for a short term one, if they discriminate properly, then this long root and short root functioning is proper. So similarly, the root chakra, as a part of the survival consciousness, we must know how to discriminate the short term solutions and long term solutions. If you mismatch this, that is what create the chaos in life, which hits at a root chakra. And similarly, the roots will go in all directions. They never go only right or left or south or north. If you pluck a plant, you will see a bunch of roots which are in all directions. So similarly, as a part of our survival consciousness in this physical plane, we have to be open to all possibilities to learn. You got married. You are okay to learn from your maternal side, your side, and you are not open to the wife side or husband side. This is where one half is totally we avoid to learn. That is what I see the sciatica. One side leg, they will start getting pain, a narrow root pain until to the foot tip. Only one side in the narrow direction, particularly because that particular direction you are not accepting. So we need to go in all directions to learn. Whatever the opportunity coming to our doorstep, that we need to be open with the family, with the community, with yourself, and with guru and with sishyas, with parallel colleagues. We have different areas. If you order in a serial manner, there will be 10 areas. In every area, you should be open to learn. It is part of our life. We are creating our own reality to attract those people into our life to learn. If you are not open to learn in a particular area and if you are trying to avoid it, that is good enough to get a narrow route pain because that particular direction you are avoiding. The plant always will send in all directions roots to grab the nourishment. Similarly, we have to attract every situation. We have to open to every area to learn. As the roots are giving stability, the root chakra wisdom, the choices that we make and the hard work that we make, that fearful life will give stability for the whole life. So these knowledge factors we apply in day-to-day life, and when they accept the hard work part in particular areas, especially the spiritual areas, whenever they work on their own fears and they will come out of the fears by intense meditation or sharing and counseling discussion, once they come out of the fear, that will automatically cleanse the root chakra. As a mechanical factor, when people come with a very severe low back pain, which is supposed to be operated in 3 days or 5 days or a week, then we advise them to confine them to bed for 20-21 days, a strict bed rest, and do the same meditation and your knowledge workout lying on the bed itself. As long as you are taking bed rest, nothing is going to happen. If you are, going for the weight bearing and walking and climbing steps and everything, if you are doing, then definitely it will deteriorate. So if it is so severe, confine to the bed. Take a very strict bed rest. Accept natural calls. Don't move out of the bed. Everything comes to you. Take the surrounding help and confine to the bed. When I am operating with my 25-bedded hospital, because I worked with a neurosurgeon, where my duty is only to make the patients to take a long bed rest for 21 days. They should not get up. If they get out of the bed, and any of the patient, around 25 to 30 people, they will be there without surgery, they want cure. So this neurosurgeon is a senior most and ethical, he never go for surgery. First he will go for the strict bed rest um, you know plan, conservative management. If anybody get out of their bed in between, my salary will be cut 500 rupees. I have to tell some or the other stories and I have to make them to stay on the bed for 3 weeks. Even he won't allow for the natural calls. The logic is the disc can be cured if there is no weight bearing. It can cure on its own. It needs minimum 3 weeks time. Disc is like a pulpy bone, like the bones in nose and ear. It's a kind of cartilage bone. To heal itself, we need to give a 3 weeks of bed rest. The olden days, they are very ethical in their practice. They know the mechanical factor. So with strict bed rest, he used to cure. Thousands of people were cured without putting a knife on the spine. I'm very fortunate to work with him. A lot of principles I learned from him at that time. So that I combine with the spiritual law. So 3 weeks they stay on the bed and parallelly they are doing meditation for hours together in lying down posture. And whatever the experiences, whatever the fears, whatever the lack of hard work, all those things they understand. By the time they understand all the spiritual principles, and the root chakra is completely healed. And most of the times they will get astral surgery. Some hands will come, they open the lower back and they will do some manipulation and they will close like a zip. This 100 times I heard from my low back pain patients. So to prepare yourself for that astral surgery to happen, one has to work on the knowledge principles related to the root area, low back area. And earlier I said the traffic signals, suffering is due to individual ignorance, you create your own reality, understanding the opportunities. So these basic first 3-4 traffic signals also very important in root chakra as well as in Swadhisthana also. So by working on fears, the body fear about the body, mind fear, the intellectual, mental afflictions that create all sorts of psychiatric fears, and then intellectual fears and soul fear, which is related to the um, fellow beings. By working on these principles, if it is a severe, and of course, the bed rest part for 3 weeks is a beautiful formula with which we are able to crack a lot of low back pain cases, mostly without surgery. They can cure themselves. So here we are trying to understand the disease on the body as an alarm. When there is a failure, in making our footsteps towards our purpose, towards the learning, towards the opportunities, without fear, with a hard work attitude. So I admire at Louis Hay because most of the books which I read related to this body, mind, soul connection, healing aspect in spirituality. Most of the books they say like chakras, energy centers, and if the energy center is healed, then the hormone function will be good, and automatically you will be out of the illness. But why again and again these energy centers are getting disturbed? Affirmation, of course, you can give, but what is the reason behind? What kind of activity we need to do in day-to-day life? So that area, very few people worked on it. Among those, I can say Louise Hay is a great invention and breakthrough. She tried to define every illness with a root cause. And those root causes are something related to our life lessons only. So similarly, the Spiritual Rapid Foundation also worked in the similar lines, taking the spiritual principles as a core given by Patriji from PSSM. Day by day, by observing a lot of experiences and people's attitude and the urgent need of the age, what exactly the world needs at this time, that also we have to understand. And we try to connect the universal needs and the individual responsibility, and we mold it as a purpose, and at different energy center levels, chakras levels, and for the different body parts, we try to assign those wisdom principles. At the end of the day, it's all goes like, see, if you look into the kitchen and the food mechanism in the chain, preparing food in the kitchen is different, and serving in the dining table or in a big hall or whatever, that is different. The first one is preparation part, second one is serving part. There are only two things here. Similarly, for a new person in every lifetime, the preparation part is like self growth. First, we work on ourselves. We practice intense practice of meditation and reading books and discussing with masters and understanding our purpose. That is the first part. And then now the serving part begins. Means we try to deliver the truth, what we understood, what we know towards the community. Why we are giving to the community? Again, it is a kind of group growth. Means we are working with the other fellow beings. We are everywhere. We know that. That is what we understood. Individually, we know we are God. The fellow being, the God, he is also energy, consciousness, and wisdom. So we need to connect with him to expand our consciousness. As a part of that, we serve the community. It's not exactly serving. We are doing for ourselves only. So the second half is working with the community, working with plant kingdom, mineral kingdom, animal kingdom, and human kingdom. Giving compassion to the animals to grow, not to kill them. That is the harmony we need to maintain. And with the fellow beings, we need to learn. We need to share our spiritual experience. We need to listen to their spiritual experiences. So this is the second part, that is serving part. So cooking part and serving part, these are only two things. So for every disease, like there will be two halves. The first part is like energy cleansing and understanding the core key qualities or purposes that that particular body part are the reasons behind the illness, and then serving the same to the community. There will be two halves in that. Whenever there is a very serious or severe illness, we need to understand that the preparatory part is not correct. Means that self preparation, the self practice is not good enough. Then there will be a very severity of the complaint is very high. When self-preparation is completed, if they are not serving to the community, not going into the group, they are not learning the same lesson. See, individually, I may have some patience for myself, for my own things. But when I am working with a group, the patience limit automatically it will extend. So learning patience for myself, for my own things is different, and with a group is different. So similarly, each and every quality that we are acquiring, whatever we are experiencing or enjoying at individual level, this has to be spread to the community level. So that is where the community part comes. So for every body part illness, for every um, major illness like a syndromes or tumors or whatever, always there will be two halves. The first is the self growth part, second is the community part. Most of the seniors will stuck at the community participation part. Self level they will achieve. That's why they will be out of the symptoms and they will be managing the disease, but they may not be completely curing it. They may not be coming out of the total medication, or still there is a question mark about the surgery. The tumor is completely not came into the normal state. So such kind of things we listen, because the second half, the community serving part is not completed. So when they work with some senior, or if they continuously work with their own inner, then universe beautifully guide them how to connect with the community to clear that second half of the journey. So today we try to understand the two illnesses and general principles involved in body mind soul complex, because every disease, when we are doing the three do's, the day one yesterday we discussed dhyan swadhyay sajana sangatya. If one is doing meditation daily, then the anandamaya kosha will be expanded, the fifth body. The people sitting in Himalayas, always they enjoy that anandamaya kosha, the bliss. That is the fifth body consciousness they operate usually. When we read the spiritual books, the Vishamaya kosha, the sixth body will be expanded. We'll come to know there are so many dimensions. Like Jesus says, there are so many mansions in my world life. So these mansions are nothing but different worlds, different dimensions that we know once we read the spiritual book. So the Vishwamaya Kosa, sixth body will be expanded, cleansed. And then when you share your experience to other people, the ego becomes zero. If you understand, if you listen from other people, then you'll understand there's a lot more to learn. So always we will be surrender in a surrender mode. That is Nirvanamaya Kosha, making ourselves zero. So this fifth, sixth, and seventh, these three layers will be cleansed with the meditation, spiritual book reading, and spiritual sharing. Dhyan, Swadhyay, Sajjana Sangatya. If these three layers are proper, then the Vijnanamaya Kosha, spiritual body, fourth body will be very perfect. Whatever the purpose we have chosen in a given lifetime, you will come to know very clearly. If you are good at fourth level, that will automatically cleanse the thoughts in mental body. The Manomaya Kosa, the thoughts will be perfect. That uncontrolled thoughts, that repetitive thoughts, fearful thoughts, egoistic thoughts, all those things automatically go away because the wisdom is perfect. He knows his purpose very well. So accordingly, he can mold his mind. If the Manomaya Kosa thoughts are perfect, then the energy body, the etheric body, the energy tubes will flow in a proper way. Sorry. So when the energy body is clean, then the physical body also will be perfect. So we can explain the alarm, the disease, the discomfort in the physical body is an energy block, which is a part of the mental block, the unwanted, irregular, unscientific thoughts, This is because of lack of proper wisdom in the Vijnanamaya Kosha, in the spiritual body, in the fourth level, which is related to 5, 6, 7, the ego layer and universal wisdom layer and happiness, the energy layer. So by cleansing the 5, 6, 7, the rest of the 4 automatically fall in place. So this is how from the 7 layer structure we can understand the illness. So with this, I conclude for today in understanding from the disease perspective, the body, mind, soul complex thing. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me. With that, I'll try to explain certain more things. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you for explaining this deep topic in such amazing and simple way. Really, it has been conductive for everyone. Yesterday, many people were messaged me like saying that the talk felt beyond the topic. So now I hope today is clear for everyone. Sarah shared all knowledge in a simple and beautiful way. So I think there won't be any complaint or like not complaint, not any question mark behind the session today. So is there any question, masters? Please raise your hand. Can we take some hand raise, sir?
Yes, Manu, you can take.
Uh,
Yesterday,
Yeah.
actually, because it is the first time I'm coming to this platform, I just went with my flow, you know, just to tell my journey as well as
Yes.
the basics I took, how I slowly get into this wisdom, just to tune the audience towards my flow. I just with the flow, and it's okay,
And
fine.
it's a really very deep topic. Like in 3 days, it's not enough for
Yeah,
to share the
obviously.
wisdom. Yes, and I felt today you are trying to, cover all the things in a very simple manner. So it's really wonderful, sir. It's really great.
Yeah.
So yes, masters, please unmute yourself. Shraddha ji, please unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, Shraddha this side. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Actually, as the ma'am said, it is a vast topic and it is a deep knowledge. I'm just a new learner over here from India. I just want to understand about the varicose and paralysis. It is being very common nowadays. So, can we get a guidance on that too?
Yeah. So you're asking about varicose veins, right?
Yeah, and paralysis also, either because of heart
Paralysis.
attack, heart stroke, or the brain hemorrhage, whatever may be the
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. So varicose veins, because they are basically we see on the majority 90% the legs. And so, as I said yesterday, the trophic signals of the soul, the 10 trophic signals, which allow us to walk on our path with the legs. That is gaining the spiritual individuality. Suppose if someone has money, they will have the material individuality. With money, makes many things, so they can walk on their own legs. That is what we say. Similarly, in spirituality, one must get into that basic wisdom by understanding these 10 trophic signals. Then all the leg related problems can be cured. And parallelly, because it is related to the veins and the blood circulation, there is a concept called circulatory forces. Understanding the circulatory forces in life, like the cosmic energy is a circulation. We receive and then we spend in different areas. Similarly, the money we earn and then we spend. Similarly, the name and fame. In most of the areas, we gain some name and fame, and the same obligations we use our recommendations to give something to the people. So these are the 3 areas, the powers which are there in a circulation. Similarly, the blood is flowing within the body in the arteries and veins. That is where
Okay.
the varicose veins will happen. It is a pathology. So something is fishy there in the legs with the veins, means the circulation. Whenever there is a disturbance in the circulation of the money, cosmic energy, and the name and fame in a wrong area, if we misutilize, that will automatically create the turbulence in the circulatory forces of internal body systems. Like that can be a water cycle or it can be a blood cycle,
Okay.
and of course the electricity patterns in the home. So that circulatory forces lesson, that pocketbook is available. If they read, they can understand much better. And in general, when we are working with varicose patients, most of the people practically they gave a tip: if they walk on the mother earth, in the grass or pebbles or whatever, straight away touching the ground, that grounding we say, right? So if they do grounding every day, that is also helpful very much. So combining all these principles given by the PG's patient God, and of course the traffic signals and the circulatory forces we apply for the varicose veins, and most of the time we are successful. There are testimonials with us. They are happy with curing their varicose veins. Thank you. And
Okay.
regarding the paralysis,
And
it is related to the neurological factor. So working on the powers, the spiritual powers that we are gaining during our practice in a given point of time, if they properly use the powers, then they can slowly come out of this paralysis related disorders. But to come out of the residual damage that is already happened, apart from the medical
okay.
treatment, they need to understand the power principles completely, and they have to develop their future program, a 25 years soul program. They have to write according to their purpose, considering thought power, speech power, position power, time, and money. These are the 5 powers. All these 5 powers where they are going to use, aligning with their purpose, understanding the big picture for the next 25 years. Then we can see a brilliant result in that neurological residual deficit. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, Saranya, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Yeah, you have already unmuted.
Thank you, sir, for a wonderful session.
We
Um,
appreciate if you turn on your cameras, masters, like videos before asking your question.
so my question is partly related to yesterday's topic. So you said we need not donate any money unnecessarily. So my question is, what if there is a family member who is going through a financial crisis? Should we help them as a responsibility as a family member, or should we let them face the consequences? So, for example, in my
Yeah,
case,
I understood your question. I will tell you.
okay,
It's a good question. See, basically, there is a little exception for this. When he is a family member, when you say, um, especially for the siblings,
yes,
how the rest of the siblings are responding to the same complaint, that we need to look first. Because according to the relationship principles, enemy, blood relation, friend, and a spiritual master, there are 4 levels. For the enemy, we have to be neutral. For the blood relation, the basic maintenance means the give and take. What best materially we can give to them, what best we can take from them, that mutual give and take will be there as a platform for the blood relation. And for the friend, with a complete unconditional love, whatever the best we can give out of love, that we try to give. And similarly, we receive from them. So we try to utilize them in our hard times as well as happiest times. For the
okay,
relation, it is only a maintenance, we call it as. And for the spiritual person, only spiritual wisdom. The sharing will be always only spiritual wisdom, none other than that. We should not take any support from a spiritual person materially. Only
okay,
wisdom is the key there. So these are the 4 cardinal principles of the relationship. So based on this, whenever it is a family member, if he is suffering, we can help them, provided if they want to walk in their path in a truthful way. At one point, they are eating literally non-vegetarian food and bringing lot of karmas, and they are suffering. And with that suffering, you are again supporting them. No, it won't work out. First time,
okay,
at least we have to tell them, you are getting this suffering because you are not working with your soul. Like you have to be compassionate with the animals, the plant-based diet, and the basic meditation. So they have to take their reins into their hands. వాళ్ళ పగ్గాలు వాళ్ళ చేతిలోకి తీసుకోవాలి. Without
okay,
working on their own self workout, and in spite of our instructions and support knowledge. They don't want our knowledge, but they don't want only support. Once or twice we do, and after that we just wait and watch. We can't do anything. Otherwise,
Okay.
they will pull our also into that mud. That is one
Okay.
scenario. When they
Okay.
are completely working on themselves and slowly trying to understand the principles and then coming out of this repetitive cyclic afflictions, then of course, definitely we can support them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And again, there is an exception like parents, whatever they are, because they gave us platform, whatever the best we can give to them for their basic life, always we have to give. Because at a given lifetime, we cannot expect the parents to be completely, spiritual. They may be maintaining in their own level. They
Yeah.
have we choose them to learn particular qualities. Once we learn the qualities, and we start our own life. So in blood relation, definitely there is an exception. We support them as long as they are ready to understand the basic life principles, unconditional love principles, and then stepping in their own life. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jayashree ma'am, please ask your question.
Namaste, sir. I will do my video 1 second.
That's okay, madam. Please.
Okay. I am almost 75-year-old, and I got dystonia. It's all from throat up. I have a hard time talking. I have a hard time chewing food. I have a hard time reading. I love to sing, but I cannot do that. And whenever I do try to do some exercise or walk or something like that, I get spasm in my throat. So all this thing is going on for after my husband died 4 or 5 years ago. And what can I do to come out of it?
Where you stay? Akaraka,
I'm in Dallas.
Dallas.
I
Okay.
was used to live in Chicago for many years, but last 4 years I am in Dallas.
Yeah. Okay. So आपका घर में दूसरे लोग भी ध्यान कर रही है? Anyone is doing meditation? Say meditation in your home?
No,
Apart from you?
only me. My daughter lives with me. Nobody else. It's only me and my daughter. But she is a teacher, and she is doing her PhD. And so a lot of homework and a lot of schoolwork. So she sits for 5-10 minutes and things like that. But I don't think that she is doing the meditation.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. See, if she can reach me about you, I can give the complete instructions, whatever the best you can do at this point of time. I need to understand your background and the way how you are doing, and a little bit about the medical diagnosis and all. So based on that, I can give. Anyway, I'm coming to Dallas on 3rd and 4th of January. 2 days I will be there in Dallas. So
You
my
mean
session is also
February?
there. Yeah, February. Yeah, February 3rd and 4th.
I
So
am planning on coming because I want
yeah,
to
I
come.
don't expect you to come. If your daughter can meet me, if it is not possible, if she can meet me by online through Zoom, I can listen to you and then I can give the complete instructions. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Next,
Yes,
I
master.
request Ritu Jain to follow her and send Lavanya madam number to
Yeah,
her.
I'm like guiding her in some way, so she's following, but she's improving. But yeah, it will take
Very
time.
good. Very
Yeah.
good. Thank you. Next.
So is there any other?
So thank you, Champa. Thank you, Champa Ben, for joining this session from UK, Austin. Sorry, UK,
Unmute,
Austin,
unmute.
Austin, underline.
Austin. Okay.
It was so wonderful, honestly. Uh, I was totally taken on by it, and I was referring you said to the thing that I do, and honestly, it was so enjoyable. I'm not moved at all, but it's so much to take in. Uh, I can put refer it to my own things, but the way you put it in is amazing. But what I would like to do is I would like to, if when you next time you're in Manchester, I would like to see you because since we met, few things have developed, and it'd be nice. And thank you very much. And I'll be seeing you in Delhi.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
And thank you to all the masters. Honestly, I'm so much connected with it now.
very
Yes.
good, very good. You are in the right group and safe in Ritu Jain's hands, even though I am missing you in UK. And I went to her home and we had a couple of interactions. She does a lot of temple service and all.
Who is
And
that?
yeah, I'm talking about you only.
Oh,
Amazing.
I thought you said somebody else's name. Yeah. No, it's
And
so wonderful.
I'm waiting when she will take me to hospice area to do whatever the best I can for the
No,
people in hospice.
before you go to hospice, you have to come to our group
Yeah,
because every time I do meditation or listen to something, and I'm more or less every day with the Gujarati um, Zoom, and whichever Zoom I connect, I'm just on to it. My daughter says, "Mom, how many Zooms you are going to do?"
yeah.
So yeah, I would love to come to a group because there's so much that I want to do with the group before we go to the hospice.
Thank you, madam. Next
Yeah,
question.
yeah. Okay,
Yes, Ritu Nigam ji. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Champavan ma'am. Yeah.
thank you.
Sir, I have like right hand, I have shoulder pain. So I don't know why it's happening. Like,
Yeah. Are you there yesterday?
yeah, I heard that thing you are saying like too much giving or taking. What is that?
Yeah.
I
It's not too much. It is about not understanding the eligibility factor. Okay, the give and take eligibility factor. So those two books, like three types of services and a true service. Those are the two pocket books that give a complete idea about that give and take mechanism. And apart from meditation, if you look into that give and take area, wherever you are giving something, wherever you are taking something, put a lens on it. Am I doing it in a right way or wrong way? Can I do this in a very different way, in a knowledge way? So these lenses, if you put in every give and take, then within days, few days, you can, you know, come out of that shoulder and neck area. And wherever we get an opportunity to give wisdom and meditation and knowledge, there we need to be in upper hand. That's it. That is the key principle here to come out of the hand and neck and shoulder illnesses. Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Thank you, madam.
You.
Thank you. Thank you. Masters, I have shared the YouTube link. You can watch the sessions, and already I posted Sir's ka schedule list. Definitely, I'll share it again once. So you will get all the details.
Okay.
Yeah, Kavita ji, please ask your question.
Hi, sir. I'm really glad to be attending your classes, sir. I have multiple issues, and I'm just being honest. I'm not regular with the meditation. I have this anxiety, depression, and then it has led to fibromyalgia. Mm, so and complete chillness in my whole body, so I can't handle little bit of AC also, or little bit of cold also. It's very difficult to go to office as well. So what exactly is causing this fibromyalgia, the whole body pain, the whole joints pain, even the small joint pain like rheumatoid arthritis?
Yeah.
So
So definitely you need some constant support. That is what I can give you some principles now, but practically to implement those things, that daily support you need. So recently, after working 3 to 4 years in the developed countries like UK, Europe, and US and all, I
Yeah.
understood for particular illnesses, they need a daily support, you know. So for that, a team of 20 to 25 counselors in different languages, they are working from India. They are
Yeah.
supporting me. So every day, IST 9:30 to 11:30 means somewhere in the morning hours of US, they will be available in Zoom breakout rooms. So if you join with them and in your own, native language, I can arrange a good counselor for you. And then I will be giving the instructions 1, 2, 3, 4, like what are all the wisdom you are supposed to take, what energy tips, so that I can give. So they will track you weekly, twice or thrice, they will track you. And then after reaching a point, when you got some sort of relief, then you can take on your own and then you can continue your journey. So in your
Okay.
case, definitely I suggest that daily support. Otherwise, even though I give some principles, these 3 days class is more than enough to understand the spectrum of body, mind, soul complex connections.
Okay.
But where to start? And every day you may be getting some intuitive experience or some dream or experience or something like that. Sometimes you don't do anything. So
Yeah.
that pull and push to handle, you need a support where they can take your hand and go through. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
which place
So,
you belongs to? Which place?
Sir, Bangalore, sir. I had that counseling with you actually, and ma'am has told me, and I have been following a little bit
Where
of
are
it.
you,
But
where are you staying now? You're in Bangalore.
Bangalore, sir.
So
Bangalore.
you're
Yes.
connected from Bangalore now.
Yeah.
Okay. So who is working with you on regular basis as of now?
Hemlata, ma'am.
Okay. So meet me tomorrow again.
Okay,
It's
sir.
long ago I met. So meet me again and again. Tomorrow you meet
Yeah.
me again in virtual chamber. You know that
Okay.
Zoom workout room. We'll sort
Yeah.
it out again.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Have
sir.
you tried
Yeah.
staying in any pyramid holistic center for 40 days? Did they advise any time for you?
You told me to go on full moon days, sir. But
Hmm.
continuous 40 days I have not tried, sir.
Okay. Did you there went on full moon days and stayed in a valley and all?
Uh, full,
Like,
near my house only they have constructed one pyramid kind of structure on their top floor. So I went there a couple of times, but the whole
couple of
night,
hours. Couple of hours
yeah,
you went.
couple of hours. Yeah, couple of hours. That was.
See, whenever the problem is big,
Yeah.
then the ashram dharma becomes the first line of training. If they
Okay.
see any serious problem is there, immediately we'll take them to hospital. We cannot try
Yeah.
at home bringing the doctor, right? For
Yeah.
small problems, we can operate at home. Whenever it is serious problem and we are unable to operate on it, so
Yeah.
then the first line of training is staying in an ashram holistic center for 40 days. So the
Okay.
environment like the pyramid power, the nature and master's present, positive environment, the full moon
Yeah.
meditations you do twice in that 40 days. So all these things, wisdom sharing, it give a combined effect. And
Okay.
a 10% or 20% relief at least you can see in that 40 days. So that gives you a lot of hope and confidence. And to understand the true reason behind a major illnesses, sometimes we need to check with the past or with the future or with the present.
Yeah.
So the day-to-day energy lose and the little amount of thing you are doing, it may not
Yeah.
allow you to project that level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it, sir.
Always we end up in projecting only to the basic possibilities,
Yeah.
not
Yes,
the
sir.
exceptional or extraordinary possibility. For that, you
Yeah.
need a lot of positive support environment. So
Yeah.
that's why
Okay.
serious illnesses, unless and until they get into that ashram dharma, we may not
Yeah.
be helpful. This I
Okay.
know day one, but because I don't want to leave the people, at least by whatever the best they can do at home, if they do, one day they understand, they will, develop some sort of belief on me, and then they will listen to me. That's why still I maintain at home. Otherwise, sometimes I feel like, let me get out of this, if they don't take ashram dharma, it's not going to end. But still I carry because at least one day or other, they will listen to me. You got my point from where I am trying
Yeah.
to come.
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, that's why still I work with them even though they are at home. We try to
Okay.
create all the 10 energy supports so that they will get some 1 or 2 experience and then they will be open to Ashtam Dharma. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
got it. Thank you so much.
I think all hand raises is done, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank
Yeah.
you. We'll wait for again day tomorrow
Yeah.
with wonderful wisdom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you all masters for your valuable time and presence to make this program successful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
And I have shared all the details in chat box, all the links to join the WhatsApp group. You can get all the details, upcoming sessions, and I have shared the list of GK Sir UK US tour as well. And for my audiobook, link is also there. So yes, it's a short audio. So all the for getting the all upcoming audios, you can join the YouTube link. So you will get all the details over there. And thank you once again, Max Masters. We'll meet tomorrow again with wonderful